We live in a society might be my favorite meme of all time. It's definitely in the top five. It just succeeds in kind of every level a meme needs to. It is a direct parody or a direct reference of something very common, because people do say that. Like, if you really pay attention, a ton of speeches and books and everything contain the words, we live in a society. There's also just a lot of different contexts you can use it in, be it like the we live in a society where some people eat off of plates of gold and other people eat off of the dirt floor. You can do something like that. You can do something like we live in a society marred by degeneracy, or you can do it more kind of like a funny thing. We live in a society where wealth is so widespread that for the first time in history, obesity is a bigger problem than starvation. There's just so many different ways you could use it, and it just works in a lot of different contexts. So how I've adopted it and how I've started using it is as kind of a who is John Galt, so it goes, or it is what it is, nothing I can do but I digress, in a more social sense. That is, the point of those expressions is to, well, express a state of helplessness or inability, or just to say this is just the way something is. There's not really much I can or will do about it. Like in the context of So It Goes and Slaughterhouse-Five, it's whenever something tragic or horrific happens, Kurt Vonnegut says, so it goes. It's just kind of like, this is just the everyday reality of life. This is just how things are. It's just, there's no real point in getting excited about it. There's no real need for an explanation for it. It's just the way the world works. Who is John Galt is kind of similar to that. It's more, I guess, in an economic context, because in Atlas Shrugged, whenever they say that, it's normally in reference to the government preventing them from doing something, or something not working, or something to that impact. And then, of course, there it is what it is, nothing I can do but I digress, which is kind of the same thing. So we live in a society, to me, is that, but a social version of that. And a very good example of this is a friend of mine I was talking to a while back was like, how and why do you do it, Arjun? Why do you work so many hours? Why do you save money? Why do you pay your taxes? What's the point of all of this? And I just looked at him. I said, we live in a society. It's just, and it does kind of explain it. It's in this sense, it's a reference to certain just kind of basic fundamental truths that grow out of having a civilization, that grow out in having mutual interdependency, of the often kind of absurd things that we have to do, be they manners, be they business dealings, be they laws, that we kind of have to follow, because if we don't, then the social order starts to break down. And they may seem very absurd on the surface, and we may not get the point individually, but we're bound to them because we live in a society. And so you can use it like in the same sense as the other two, like why can't I, like, to counter what I call naked man with a gun libertarianism, which is where you walk around naked with like an M16, and anybody who questions you, you shoot them for violating your freedom of expression. So like, why can't you do that? We live in a society. Why can't we let people starve the streets? Because we live in a society. Why can't we turn away refugees at the border? Because we live in a society. It's just kind of one of those things that's just a perfect argument for every situation. It's it kind of reminds me a bit of also the whole current year thing. Like, why do we need to do this? Because it's 2019, or because it's 2018, or because it's 2017, or it's 2020. Like, it's just kind of a statement you can't really argue with, that kind of has some relevancy, and it makes it seem like it's a really profound statement even when it really doesn't make any sense. So I guess kind of the other way I've started using it is in regards to just very, very basic, low tier political pandering, because like pretty much every speech be it by a good politician or a bad politician, starts out with some variation of we live in a society. We live in a country, we live in a nation, whatever. So that's all I had to say about that. Just it's a good meme. I think that's a good context also to use it in as kind of a so it goes. We live in a society. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, God bless everyone. This is Argent. We must ascend.